So I'm Dr. David Honeywell from Durham University, where I work as a teaching fellow in criminology. My area of expertise is desistance from crime, which is about how people and why people move away from criminal activity. And I'm drawing from aspects of my PhD thesis, which I completed last year, and that was about ex-prisoners and the transformation of self through higher education. And from that thesis I've drawn several themes, and one of the themes was the complexities of desistance. The central core to my thesis and my presentation today is that I'm an ex-prisoner myself who transformed myself through higher education and has gone through the desistance process for almost 20 years now. So as a ex-prisoner, I'm classed as a convict criminologist. In other words, a person who served time in prison and later become an academic. The presentation I'm giving today about the ambiguities of desistance draws on the complexities that's rarely heard of in the literature. So for example, how people desisting from crime find themselves stuck in social limbo. So in other words, you find that you don't belong to your previous world and neither do you belong to your current world. So in other words, for someone who's an academic like myself, who's done time in prison, it's quite common to feel like you don't belong. It's like that imposter syndrome, as though you're not good enough. And that carries on through your entire life. Also, because you've got a criminal record, you get stigmatized, you continue to be rejected. So my argument is that desistance is not as clean cut as a lot of the literature suggests. In other words, it doesn't necessarily have a beginning and an end. In most cases, there is no end to desistance. The idea behind that is that as part of the desistance process, this includes an identity transformation. So in other words, you become a different person. You cast off your former identity, i.e. the criminal identity, the ex-prisoner identity, and you develop a new identity. Education has helped a lot of people do that, and that was sort of central to my PhD thesis, how ex-prisoners had used education to develop new identities, and that's what I've done myself. However, as I say, it doesn't always become, there's still aspects of your past that tend to linger because you can never completely erase the past. And so basically that's the basis of my presentations. I'm doing one tomorrow about prisons and desistance, i.e. can the prison system use a desistance-based model for prisoners? In other words, can they help set them up for release rather than just releasing them and dumping them on the streets in some cases? Can there be more support for them when they get released? All these help them to move away from crime more permanently rather than this going through this revolving door of going back into prison and out and in and out. There needs to be a desistance approach by the prison system itself. So I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow, but the main theme of my talk today and my continuing research is the ambiguities of desistance, which I've explained in this podcast.